Hello gardener, welcome back to my channel. May is here and it's time to focus on warm season crops and the upcoming summer season. With that said, I have 10 garden task tips and reminders for the month of May to help keep your garden on track. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Jara. I've been gardening all of my life and I'm a professional seed and plant nursery. I love to share my knowledge and teach others how to garden and grow food, so you've come to the right place if you want to improve your gardening skills. Let's get started. My first tip is to install drip irrigation, especially if you're in an area that has water restrictions during the summer. There are different levels of water restrictions and the rules vary by state, but some of the water restrictions don't apply if you're watering vegetable crops or at least watering them with some sort of water efficient method like with drip irrigation. So carefully review the water restriction rules for your area specific for when it comes to irrigating veggie crops, not just lawns. I have a whole tutorial showing how I installed my drip irrigation system, which also automatically fertilizes my plants too. I will link it all in the description below. My second tip continues with summertime restrictions, but now when it comes to areas or states that ban fertilizing during the summer. This is a huge deal in certain counties in Florida. There is a ban on using fertilizer during the summer because it washes away with the rains and enters our waterways, which causes algae blooms and all sorts of problems. So start learning some natural ways of fertilizing your plants. For example, bury fish in the ground before planting. Start adding plants in your garden that can be turned into fertilizer like comfrey or moringa. I have a tutorial showing how I make my own fertilizer using moringa that I harvested from my garden, and I'll link that below in the description. You can start saving eggshells to add calcium to the soil, which helps prevent blossom end rot. Start a compost pile. Connect with local farms to see if anyone is willing to give you free manure. Get free wood chips to help build up your soil. There are so many things you can do to add nutrients to the soil and your veggie crops that are not straight fertilizer. If you have any more ways to source or make your own fertilizers or soil amendments, please comment below and share. Tip number 3, May is a great time to tackle a useful garden project, setting up a rainwater collection system using IBC totes. With summer heat and potential drought restrictions just around the corner, collecting and storing rainwater now can help you keep your garden thriving when water becomes scarce. IBC totes are a sturdy, high-capacity option that's perfect for gardeners looking to harvest rain from rooftops or greenhouses. Set it up this month and you'll be ready with a free, sustainable water source all summer long. I recommend you search Facebook Marketplace to find inexpensive used IBC totes. It will cost so much less than buying them new. Just make sure the tote has a food grade label. They also should have a label on it that explains what was previously stored in the IBC tote, so you can search it up and make sure it was a non-toxic or food safe product. There are so many ways you can install them, but the easiest way is to connect it to an existing gutter system. I will upload a video tutorial on how I install mine very soon. Tip number 4, May is the perfect time to start planting your summer crops so they have a head start before the extreme heat and unpredictable weather of summer fully arrives. Getting your plants in the ground now gives them time to establish strong roots and healthy growth, which helps them handle the stress of high temperatures, heavy rains, or dry spells much better than freshly planted seedlings. The sooner you plant, the more resilient your garden will be when summer kicks into high gear. You should not be planting cool season or spring crops unless you're in a very cold climate that just passed their last spring frost date right now in the month of May. My 5th tip is to be on the lookout for spider mites. Spider mites often become a major garden pest starting in late spring, and May is when their numbers really begin to surge. Look for tiny reddish or pale mites on the undersides of leaves, along with fine webbing and tiny yellow or white dots on the foliage. That is actually the spots where the spider mites pierce the plant to suck the juices out of them. They thrive in hot, dry conditions and can quickly spread. To treat them, prune out badly infested parts of your plants and then spray with spinosad, which is an organic treatment that kills soft-bodied insects on contact. Use a spray pump with an angled tip so you can spray the underside of the leaves where the spider mites are usually located. You must stay consistent with the spraying to disrupt their life cycle. Early action is key to preventing a full-blown infestation. Tip number 6 is all about downy mildew management in the garden. A lot of gardeners are growing downy mildew susceptible crops in May or in late spring, which includes things like cucumbers and squash. Downy mildew appears as yellow or brown areas on the leaves. It spreads quickly in warm, moist conditions and can damage or kill plants if left untreated. Improve airflow by spacing plants properly and watering at the base to avoid wetting the leaves. Prune out badly infected leaves and fertilize well to encourage new healthy growth to outpace all the growth that is catching diseases. Spray the rest of the plant with 1 cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide per gallon of water to clean and disinfect the leaves. If the situation gets really bad, then use a stronger treatment like Monterey disease control. I advise against copper-based fungicides because copper doesn't break down, so it builds up in the soil and the environment. My 7th tip is to take your herb garden to the next level and plant it up as an Apothecary Garden. May is a wonderful time to plant an apothecary garden so it gets a little established before the heat of summer arrives. Choose herbs and plants that are used for wellness and home remedies. If you're in a temperate climate, areas that get snow during the winter, you can grow things like calming chamomile for tea, skin-soothing calendula, immune-supporting echinacea, digestive-friendly peppermint, and thyme for its antibacterial properties. If you're a hot climate gardener, areas that don't get snow during the winter, plant calming lemongrass for tea, stress-reducing holy basil, nutrient-rich moringa for just overall wellness, digestion-soothing ginger, and anti-inflammatory turmeric for your heat-loving apothecary garden. There are so many more types of plants that can be incorporated into an apothecary garden. For more ideas, I recommend the Forgotten Home Apothecary book, which also has a ton of recipes so you know how to use the plants. I'll link it below in the description. Tip number 8 is to start cleaning up the garden in preparation for summer planting. May is the perfect time to pull out spent spring crops like bolting lettuce, arugula, or cilantro to make space for summer plantings. As you clear out those fading plants, it's also a great opportunity to start saving seeds from your healthiest spring varieties. Let a few plants go to seed, then harvest and dry them for next season. It's a simple way to preserve your favorites, save money, and build a resilient garden with plants adapted to your growing conditions. I actually got to clean out this entire bed behind me. Everything has gone to bolt or the flowering stage, but that's okay. I'm going to clean it all out, and I'm actually going to lay everything flat down on the surface so it just decomposes down and incorporates into the soil. Tip number 9 has to do with houseplant or tropical plant care. Now that most of the United States is past all danger of frost, it's the perfect time to move your tropicals and houseplants outdoor for the warm season. Give your plants a refresh by trimming off any dead or damaged leaves, fertilizing, wiping down dusty foliage, and checking for pests. I especially love to pot up my orchids into bigger containers, prune out old foliage, and get back into a consistent fertilizer routine with them. For tropical plants, I like to make a do-it-yourself foliage cleaner that also shines up the leaves. Simply mix 1 cup of water with 10 to 20 drops of an essential oil like peppermint, lemongrass, or orange, and 1 teaspoon of an all-natural soap like Castile soap or Dr. Bonner's. Please don't use dish soap. It's not a natural soap. It's actually a detergent. Mix everything in a spray bottle, spray the leaves, and wipe them with a microfiber cloth. My last tip, tip number 10, is to stop putting so much effort into a perfect green lawn and instead convert it into a more eco-friendly wildflower meadow. Replacing grass with native wildflowers not only reduces water use, which is especially important during periods of drought and water restrictions, but it also reduces the amount of mowing you have to do, all while supporting pollinators like bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. You can start small by clearing a patch of lawn and scattering a mix of wildflower seeds adapted to your region. Choose a sunny spot, loosen the soil, and water regularly until the seeds germinate. Over time, you'll enjoy a low-maintenance, vibrant space that adds beauty to your yard and life to your local ecosystem. If I didn't live in an HOA community, I would not have a lawn. It would be all either a wildflower meadow, some sort of native ground cover, or simply more growing space for food. And there you have it, 10 garden tips for the month of May to keep your garden healthy, productive, and thriving as we roll into the warm season. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more gardening guidance. I want to know what you guys are doing this month in your garden to prepare for summer. Please comment and share below. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.